kept secrets travel.
Number 3, best kept secret on how to save money whilst you guys are traveling is transport to and from the airport. A lot of people, when they arrive at the airport, they're quite tired, and in some cases it is the safest and best option to get a completely certified taxi from the rank outside.
I would always say get a certified taxi from the rank outside.
I agree on that. I completely agree. Don't get in an unlicensed taxi. But what I'm saying is that
Find a random man on...
No. What people often forget is that there are so many other options of getting away from the airport. There might even be tuk-tuks, there could be buses, there could be trains,
turtles.
You could horse and cart. There are so many different options out there, and often these are a lot cheaper than a taxi. Taxi might get you to the more precise location. A bus might just take you to a specific bus stop, or you might be able to book a
missed
group.
Uber.
There's
Uber's
also Uber. There's also Uber. There are so many different ways to get out of the airport, which saves so much money. I know you've Ubered from quite a few airports when you've solo travelled.
Yeah, so the hardest thing about Ubering, I found when I didn't actually have any mobile data, was actually trying to connect to the Wi-Fi to then get the Uber.
Yeah.
And then it was to go and find, I had to sort of connect.
Where was this?
So this would have been in Peru, and I was trying to connect to the Wi-Fi as long as I can to try and find where the Uber had parked, because often in airports they can't come to exactly where you want them to. And then I knew I was about to leave it, so I sort of guessed where it was, and then I had to check and then just sprint and hope. But luckily the guy found the random English guy who was completely lost, and he found me, and I did get to where I wanted to go.
I know another great example was actually, funny enough, I was in Peru as well. I just got off a flight to meet Morgan out in South America. He'd been out for a few weeks already, and I'd made 2 new friends on the plane, 2 British lads who are also flying out to South America for the first time. Left the airport, we're all really tired. It was in Cusco, so 3,500 meters. We were all shattered just from the altitude. And I asked them, where are you guys heading? They said centre of town. I said, why don't... They said centre of town. I said, why don't we just share a taxi, because then we're going to cut a load of costs. You know, they saved a third on their taxi bill, and I only had to pay half of what I was going to pay. So that don't be too scared. And actually, that was a lot safer option for me, because they were 2 guys together, so they're quite safe on their own. I was in a continent I'd never been to before.
Language you don't speak.
I was tired. Language I don't speak. So actually, my safest option was going with 2 other guys, and then got to centre of town, said bye, and that was it. But these are the things which you guys need to think about when you're really trying to save money and cut down costs. I know some people out there will hitchhike, and Morgan is going to actually talk about hitchhiking in a future episode when he talks about his amazing adventure across Europe with Red Bull Can You Make It?
Yeah.
But these are things we're going to talk about, and hitchhiking we're not going to publicly push out because there's a lot of risk associated with it.
But privately?
Yeah, privately we might talk about it. But we are going to discuss the overall pros and cons of a lot of these transports.
We're going to give a fair and balanced view and allow people to make their own decisions, because we're not telling anyone to do anything.
Sure. One of our most interesting stories about how we save money when we're travelling back to the airport at the end of our trip from Australia was Morgan's younger cousin gave us the best and cheapest way to get back.
Which was in Australia, in lots of countries, they have travel cards. So we were able to get an Opal card, which we will talk about more in our Australia deep dive episode, which is actually next. So an Opal card is similar for people in the UK to an Oyster card. And what we were told was that if you run the card down till it has about $1 left, and then swipe in, and then by the time you get to the airport, you swipe out, and it leaves your card on a negative balance of about $9. But what it means is that you can get to the airport from anywhere, in one trip, from anywhere, for $1, which was such an amazing secret. And it's only something that we learned by speaking to a local.
Well, it was your cousin, they're similar age to us, so they were obviously trying to be really nifty with their money, and it was just something which they'd heard maybe on Facebook or from friends. But it saved us so much money rather than trying to get a taxi and costing 30, 40, 60 Aussie dollars. It was such a great way and a super quick and comfy way of us getting to the airport.